standing by a Persian river and looking up into the sky to see the vision. Then I lifted my eyes and saw, and there, standing beside the river, was a ram which had two horns, and the two horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher one came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward, northward, and southward, so that no animal could withstand him, nor was there any that could deliver from his hand, but he did according to his will and became great. Daniel 8:3-4. What did the ram represent? Video 11. Another look at the little horn and its opposition to Jesus and his people. Daniel had a second vision 2 years after he saw the vision of the four beasts. You may remember that, in the first vision, the winged lion represented Babylon, the rising bear represented Persia, the four-headed lion represented Greece, and the dragon represented Rome. In the second vision, which happened a short time before the fall of Babylon to Persia, Daniel again saw the empires of the world. But this time they were represented by beasts, that were used in the Hebrew sanctuary service. And this time the historical timeline began with the soon-to-come empire of Persia. The amazing prophecy begins with Daniel standing by a Persian river and looking up into the sky to see the vision. Then I lifted my eyes and saw, and there, standing beside the river, was a ram which had two horns, and the two horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher one came up last. I saw the ram pushing westward, northward, and southward, so that no animal could withstand him, nor was there any that could deliver from his hand, but he did according to his will and became great. Daniel 8:3-4. What did the ram represent? The visions of the prophets interpret themselves. We do not have to guess what they mean. So, we are not surprised for an angel explained this ram to Daniel. The ram which you saw, having the two horns, they are the kings of Media and Persia. Daniel 8:20. We probably could have concluded that, just as the bear had been lifted up on one side, so one of the two horns was taller than the other. What this second vision brings out is that the stronger horn, Persia, came up last. In other words, the Persians joined the Medes, but then became stronger than them. When they pushed westward, they were attacking Babylon, previously the greatest empire on earth. And, being victorious, the Persian Empire became great. But soon an enemy came from even further west than they had earlier pushed. And as I was considering, suddenly a male goat came from the west, across the surface of the whole earth, without touching the ground, and the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. Then he came to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing beside the river, and ran at him with furious power. And I saw him confronting the ram, he was moved with rage against him, attacked the ram, and broke his two horns. There was no power in the ram to withstand him, but he cast him down to the ground and trampled him. And there was no one that could deliver the ram from his hand. Daniel 8:5-7. Again, we have no need to trust religious teachers to help us understand the prophets. The writings of the prophets explain themselves. So who was this great goat with one horn, and then with four, that so destroyed the Persian Empire? And the male goat is the kingdom of Greece. The large horn that is between its eyes is the first king. As for the broken horn and the four that stood up in its place, 4 kingdoms shall arise out of that nation, but not with its power. Daniel 8:21-22. What we learn here is that Greece would not only conquer Persia, but that it would do so with its first king. History shows this to be true, for Alexander the Great was the first king to bring together the city-states of Greece into an empire. In the prophecy, we also learn that Alexander would die while still strong. Daniel 8:8. And he did die strong, while only in his 30s. When he died, he left no legitimate son. His wife was pregnant though, and said famously, that the strongest of his generals should be his successor. Nearly all of his roughly 20 generals thought they were meant to rule Alexander's kingdom. And after 20 years of bloody civil war, 4 generals allied together and divided Alexander's kingdom permanently between themselves. Only by God's super foreknowledge could such details have been predicted. The little horn, representing Rome, shows up again in this chapter too. It is pictured as taking over the south, North Africa, and the east, Near East, and the glorious land, Palestine. Then, after conquering so many peoples, Rome transformed into the papacy over a period of about 500 years. In both of its forms, pagan and papal, Rome persecuted God's people and killed some of God's messengers, like the apostles. And it grew up to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and some of the stars to the ground, and trampled them. Daniel 8:10. But what really angered heaven was when the papacy pretended to have the authority of God's Messiah. He even exalted himself as high as the prince of the host, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. Daniel 8:11. What did the vision mean by the place of his sanctuary? We get an idea by how the angel explained this part of the prophecy. First, the angel explained that the papacy would be involved in evil negotiation. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors have reached their fullness, a king shall arise, having fierce features, who understands sinister schemes. Daniel 8:23. Second, the angel explained that the papacy would not have much of an army, but would use the armies of other nations to accomplish its work. This is how the Crusades happened, for example. His power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. Daniel 8:24. Finally, the angel explained that the papacy would destroy God's faithful people and, as the vision said, would work to promote false teachings and to deceive people. It cast truth down to the ground. He shall destroy fearfully, and shall prosper and thrive. He shall destroy the mighty and also the holy people. Through his cunning he shall cause deceit to prosper under his rule. Daniel 8:24-25. When the angel talked about the papacy and its evil accomplishments, a question was asked about how long a period was covered by the vision. The answer given was that it would be 2,300 days, then the sanctuary would be cleansed. In our next video we will study about the sanctuary so that we can understand about its cleansing.